All right, it's 93.3 WMMR. We are backstage with the members of Soundgarden, and we have in our company Ben Shepherd, we have Kim Thale, we have Matt Cameron, and we have Chris Cornell. Nice to have you here at the MMRBQ, gentlemen.
Hey.
Thank you. Is this live?
It is.
Oh, no.
It is, so be careful. Actually, it's not. We're going to edit it later. But
I didn't think so. You walked into it too casually.
I want to start by saying that I was blessed enough to be at the little theater in Seattle. Is it the Showbox? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was out there interviewing Stone Gossard for a project he was putting together on some of the history of some of the Seattle bands like Mother Love Bone and stuff like that. And Pearl Jam's manager, Kelly Curtis, said, "Can you stay another day?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, there's this show coming up." And so I got lucky enough to be there on that first night and see your first public performance anyway. And I'm wondering what went through your heads. You know, obviously you had to rehearse, but, you know, all of a sudden you're in the friendly hometown vibe. But what was going through your heads right before you're taking that stage?
Like, did this person and that person and the other person actually make it in because they were supposed to be on the guest list, but they might have been forgotten? That's what hometown shows pretty much out of too,
Right.
I think.
And Aunt Susie and people like that?
Friends and family.
More than you even knew you had, I suspect.
People you owe things to.
Now, in every club or every city's got its own special small places, and in this town there's a little club called J.C. Dobbs. It's on a street called South Street, and everyone from George Thorogood to Green Day to Pearl Jam to Nirvana and even Soundgarden played there. It holds maybe 150 people.
Wow.
I have it in my records, and
We did play there, huh?
a lot of bands will 89. So Matt knows.
okay.
A lot of bands, come through a town a lot, and they don't remember the various gigs, but they often remember their first gig.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, you don't, Chris.
Well, I remember the Electric Factory. We played there quite a bit.
Yeah?
Trocadero. We
Yeah.
played there.
Love
a few
the
times.
Chalk. Oops.
We played there.
Remember
with,
the Chalk?
Oh,
Monster
yeah.
Magnet.
It's my
and,
favorite.
So those were always really fun shows. I think that's in Chinatown or something.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember walking out in the alleyway of the Trocadero and seeing chicken parts.
Uh-huh.
So that's my
sure it was
resounding memory of the Trocadero. But awesome rock club.
Yeah,
So what was the
Awesome.
club you were talking about that we played for sure and we don't remember?
Don't remember that.
J.C. Dobbs.
Wow. Is it still there?
Yeah, it actually is.
We did play there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, be that as it may, you have a new record out. It's been out for a little bit now, and I have to think that for you guys it must be somewhat weird, at least in the first part of that record being released, to have people say, "And here's that new song and that new record from Soundgarden."
Actually, that to me seems more normal than people talking about music that still feels fresh to us as being nostalgic or old. That doesn't ring true to me really ever. So it feels kind of normal to be talking about new things. And we've made a lot of records too that are like almost as much music as you can fit onto a compact disc. So, like in this last couple years, we've performed songs live that maybe we never performed live that are 15, 20-year-old songs. So it all, to us, is an evolution that feels kind of current.
You know, I love how songs grow, and I had another blessing a couple of years ago to be able to interview Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and we were talking about a song that had been on a Stones album called Voodoo Lounge. It was called Out of Control, and a year later they released it on their live album as well, and I said to Keith Richards, "I like the live version better," and he said, "That's not unusual. You have to understand that when a song is born in the studio and recorded, that's only the beginning of its life." And I'm curious if in your experiences you find either in your catalog stuff or in the new material already you're discovering how songs have grown and which ones have, in your opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, like Lucky Now.
Cool.
That's a song that's grown.
I think
Lucky.
they all do.
Diggleby Boo Boo.
I just thought it was a fascinating observation, by a guy you might not think would make such an observation, but whether it goes on to be even people covering you. I mean, Peter Frampton has covered Soundgarden. It speaks to the. Speaks to
What's that? Tougher than us? What?
He did Black Hole Sun, right?
Black Hole Sun. Yeah.
But no, that is true. Like when you
Didn't you play on that?
when the song comes together in the studio, it might have a different sort of vibe than if it was live tested for, a month or two or something. But we didn't really have the luxury of doing that with the new album. We wrote it, recorded it, boom, put it out, and that's how it goes with a lot of rock records.
I think
in
the
general.
first 2 or 3 albums were all live tested. For many songs that were performed for years before we recorded them. So they had kind of developed that particular character. And then starting with Bad Motorfinger,
Yeah.
started writing for the record.
Right.
And then the song would change and evolve. I listened to the studio version of Searching in My Good Eye Clothes.
Totally different.
And the live version
Totally
is
different.
really
It's a different key
arrangement.
as well,
Different
right?
key.
Yeah, it starts at a different key.
Yeah. Well, I remember like when I auditioned for Soundgarden, I think I learned some of the songs that were on the first EP. But there was one song, Ocean Fronts, that these guys are just.
We never
not-
released that.
That's the song I want to play with these guys. Come on, guys.
But really, any song, whether it's been a song that we played over and over and over and over for years, or songs we haven't played much, they all kind of continue to change through the years and evolve. Part of it just is maybe getting bored with it and then reinventing it as you go. Every time you play it on stage, that kind of thing. Trying different things on any given song that you never thought of to do, and then suddenly in the moment you decide to try it and it worked, or it didn't, and then you try to remember to never do that again.
Right.
Or there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it is, I think, a good thing to be able to kind of get every song up there at some point and give it a chance to be played a few times to see what it can turn into. We put out a live record not long ago that was called Live on I-5 that was all recordings from a 96 tour, and we'd sort of forgotten that the tapes existed. We brought someone out and recorded it on tape, and then listening to it when we were trying to decide what to put out from it, I didn't remember approaching a lot of those songs that way. It was really different.
A question for Matt.
Yeah.
We had Jeff Ament was in town back in the fall with his band,
Right.
RNDM.
Yeah.
And at the time, there were all these rumors going around that Soundgarden's going out on the road, and they're taking Pearl Jam. And Jeff just told Pierre and myself, he goes, "Have you ever seen Matt drum? Do you really think?" I thought that.
That's great.
Do you really think he could do? And I thought that was just such a compliment coming from Jeff about what an amazing drummer you are.
Kill Cameron tour. Yeah.
Will that ever happen?
Just from what Ben said, well, no, I mean, after I play a full set with PJ or Soundgarden, I mean, my day is done pretty much, you know. But I don't know. It's like Chris and I played Temple of the Dog songs together at that PJ 20 concert. That was kind of fun, but I don't know. I never say never, but I can't see I don't think I'd ever vote for a tour like that.
I don't think it's safe.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not safe. No, I would need oxygen. I would need no.
Maybe 20 years ago.
Hey,
Maybe,
Ben,
yeah, maybe.
Ben, I heard that you had written the riff for the guitar riff for Halfway There, and
No.
no,
That's all Christopher.
okay, because I had heard that you had wanted to save it for your child, or maybe that was
Yeah, do you smoke marijuana?
not anymore. I used to, but it's too strong now.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 2 hits and you can't even speak. I'm in the fetal position. For me, I'm in the fetal position, curling up in the
good
fetal
stuff
position,
nowadays.
sucking my thumb and crying out for my mommy.
That's what the sun does to me.
Yeah, I've heard you don't rise early, Kim. Never. Okay. Well, another question then for Matt on the song. I think it's "Blood on the Valley Floor." You play a moog, and I was.
do? Oh, yeah.
You're credited on the album as such, anyway.
Yeah.
I did not know you were a keyboard player.
I'm not really. I just play synthesizers and make weird sounds and stuff. Yeah.
And Kim, you did the horn section on Black Saturday.
Well, I didn't perform it.
Well, no, but I mean, you
wrote it.
arranged it, did you not?
Yeah, I just got some friends in and just kind of figured out a chord that would work in that particular part of the song and assigned it to the various brass instruments.
Had you ever done that kind of arranging, or?
No, but I watched brass sections on, I don't know,
Was not difficult.
David Letterman. What's the trombone doing? What's the trumpet doing?
On a lighter note, this question for Ben: how does someone who from Seattle turn out to be a Philadelphia Flyers hockey fan?
Because I've got a face meant for radio.
Is that it? That's all we get. Okay. Just curious. Just curious. I wanted to ask you, Chris, you had a chance to induct Hart into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, fellow Seattle band.
I did that tonight, in fact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's airing tonight.
Right.
I'm doing it right now.
Okay. What was that experience like for you?
It was, in a lot of ways, kind of eye-opening because my attitude about an institution like that, where there's a group of people that can be influenced to vote one or another way, to include someone into what is kind of one way of looking at what the history of rock and roll is. It just doesn't seem very rock and roll to me. It's almost kind of anti-rock. But then being there and participating in it, Ben came with me, and the Rush was also inducted, and the fan presence and just kind of the emotional presence from the fans was so intense that I kind of changed my mind about the whole thing. I mean, everything else aside from it, it's this moment where the bands, the musicians, the artists can kind of celebrate what they've done with the fans, and the fans are really kind of there in force, showing you that they care about what you did, and that was pretty amazing.
Some time ago, I guess it was Chris and Ben that got to go see Johnny Cash in concert, and both of you found that to be.
I think
Matt
we all
was
went,
there.
right?
Yeah, I think we all went. Yeah.
Okay. What was that like?
Amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Amazing.
Did you get to talk to him afterwards as well, correct?
Well, Kim
Kim
recorded a song
recorded
with
with
him,
We did
with Sean Kenny, right?
Yeah, Sean, who's on stage right now, and Chris from Nirvana, and I, and Johnny and his son did a Willie Nelson song,
Wow. What song?
Time of the Preacher.
That one on that record, being biased like I am about all that music, I think their version of that Willie tune was the best one on that whole record. And there's a whole bunch of different artists that play on that.
Well,
Turned out
we had the advantage of Johnny singing.
Yep. But it was so cool.
What was he like as a human?
He was the most charismatic celebrity I've ever met, and that goes from the president down to various rock singers and athletes easily. He was an impressive presence, and he was very kind, and it's kind of intimidating too.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very
Humble and
very
real.
humble and sweet and genuine, and sometimes it's hard to know what to do with that when you admire someone that much and they're that kind of just sort of humble and approachable.
One other thing, you guys are going to play the 25th anniversary of Sub Pop Records. I think
are.
that's
Are
coming
we?
up.
Are
I had
we?
read that you are, but that may not
were
be true
invited.
as well.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
scheduling.
up.
All right, there was some talk about that.
We would love to.
I think there was some
Yeah.
offer for us to play with Mudhoney on the top of the Space Needle.
Oh, cool. All right, so how long do you see this tour going, and what is next for Soundgarden?
Well, we play tonight, right after this.
You do. And I believe this is the first gig thus far that you've played with Alice in Chains on the same bill, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
There was one festival date that got rained out a couple weeks ago, and
First time I ever
played.
played live in Seattle with Soundgarden was with
That's right.
Alice in Chains.
Really?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, we opened up for them
That was
as
when
the
we
Nude
saw
Dragons.
Yeah.
What's
And
that?
we opened for them as the Nude Dragons.
Yeah, and there were
which is the
fans.
show that you saw at the
That was-
Showbox.
yes, right.
That
So
was
we
also
played
the
as
Nude
the
Dragons.
Nude Dragons,
Wow.
right? And there's
Yeah.
fans. My brother filmed it, and you can hear the
Right.
fans out there in the audience going, "Wow, these guys think they're Soundgarden. They really sound like them."
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it was Ben's debut, and so
Funny.
it took him a while to orient the rest of the band as being Soundgarden.
Very cool. We want to thank you for spending some time with us and for playing
Thank
our
you.
MMRBQ. Our station's 45 years old, and we're alive and well, and there's not many rock stations that are, so we're
Yeah.
proud of that
That's
fact.
cool.
And alive and vital in this era where we compete with satellite and iPods.
You're not going
and-
to do
What is it,
dance,
Philly?
folk, pop?
No, and that's not on the immediate plans. But
It's a Philly station.
well, yeah, we've been around for a long, long time, and
See?
we're proud of that, and we're grateful to bands that we've been able to maintain friendships with
Philadelphia
and
rocks, man.
continue that tradition. So,
Awesome.
Ben and Kim and Chris and Matt, thank you so much for stopping
you.
by.
Thank you.
Thank you.